And our next billionaire profile is George Soros, known as the Palindrome. And they called him the Palindrome because when he used to submit orders into the pit back in the day, the traders down there would yell, "The Palindrome, the Palindrome." You can see his name is spelled the same way forwards and backwards. And they yelled that because they didn't want to be on the other side of his order flow. When this guy was betting, he was betting big. And oftentimes he was right on the biggest trends that were taking place in the market. So everyone would warn everyone else in the floor to not get on the other side of his order flow. So who is this guy? Well, he's a billionaire macro trader, still trading today, still alive and kicking. He's worth about $25 billion. You can see on the right over there, little picture of him. That's sort of an old picture. Looks a lot older than that now, but this guy was originally a Jew from Hungary who escaped persecution in World War II, headed to London where he learned some economics, and then found his way to Wall Street. His big claim to fame was this trade that people called the trade that broke the Bank of England. And what that was him shorting a bunch of pounds sterling against Deutschmarks. In total, he was short around 10 billion pounds. And when the pound broke, his fund Quantum made $1 billion in a single freaking day. And here's a graph of what that looked like. So here's the artificial floor that the Central Bank of England had set. Okay, and that was the UK base rates. And he was betting that that had to break and the central bank wouldn't be able to prop up their currency anymore. He was correct. You could see it instantly plummeted and he made over $1 billion in a day. Now, the Palindrome made about 30% a year on average while active in quantum. And on 2 occasions, he made 100% in a year. That is mega impressive. And a lot of people come to me that get into trading in the beginning and say, I want to make 50% or I want to double my money every year. And that's not really how you achieve wealth in this game. Achieving wealth in this game is performing well over the long term, compounding money over the long term. And 30% is a lot. And I'll show you guys in a second how much that really is. Let's take a little break from slides and go to this Excel investment calculator that I made. So I want to illustrate just how good 30% is. Let's put a realistic starting amount here. This is a little investment calculator. Let's say you started with $10,000. And over 20 years, compounding at a 10% rate, you would be left with $67,000. Pretty good, but not life-changing. Now, what happens when you turn that number to 30? The number goes to $1.9 million. Okay, and this is starting from a measly $10,000. You started from $100,000, you're talking 19 million. Okay, that is very, very impressive. And I made another table down here to illustrate this fact. So we have 10% growth on the left, 30% growth on the right. And you could just see how in the beginning, it doesn't look that much different. The people going for short-term gains of 600% in year one, they might look good in the beginning, but that's not sustainable. The guy that continues to compound at a really good rate like 30% will ultimately win out. And you can see at the end here, the differences are just unbelievable. 67,000 compared to 1.9 million. And we're going to finish off this lecture with another quote. You guys can probably tell already I like listening to quotes. And here we go. George opened all of our thinking to macroeconomic theory. And he made globalists of us all by making us understand the importance of geopolitical events on the U.S. economy. And that was from Brian Wine of Morgan Stanley. And so before George's time, the modern trader, Jesse Livermore originally talked about general conditions, but the modern trader didn't really start paying attention to the macro until George started talking about how important it is. And once you make $1 billion in a day, everyone starts listening to you.